basically, so we're there. We're doing like stand up, and it was cool. It was great to see them all do it, and the people have a sense of humor. English is still a barrier. Like, I spoke way slower than I would normally speak, but there are people that speak English and they fucking love it, and they come out and they want it, and you have all these comics that are like doing this comedy, and that's where it becomes hip hop. Hip hop was this voice for the underdogs, right? And the reason the world gravitated towards hip hop,
not just the voice of the underdog, it was built because
of underdogs.
The underground.
So here's the problem with hip hop.
Not underdog.
It's not underground.
Not only that, the problem with hip hop is you can't come in. This is our thing. Black people were so protective of hip hop that you ostracize those that don't look like you, and they're never fully accepted, right? And because of that, I think comedy can actually be, in a way, more effective, because as long as you're on stage, you're a comic. There's no, but you're not, Greek, and technically Greek people invented jokes, and
there's little nuances there. Like with hip hop, there's definitely similarities as far as like, oh, you're not there, but like you had to be super fucking nice. Like if you weren't somebody, like if you were Eminem. Like, of course, Eminem had to deal with years and years of like, oh, you get this country white boy the fuck out of here. Before he got over there, it was like, all right, well, he's really fucking nice and was just destroying people. Before it was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll let this motherfucker in.
Sure, and every time Eminem drops an album, there's some think piece about how, like, he's not that good. He's only there because he's white.
He's one of the greatest to ever.
In fairness to Kaz, there's going to be think pieces about every comic that comes out too. Sure. But also, I don't think Andrew was knocking rap as much as saying comedy could have the potential to be even bigger, because there's no. Yeah. We are looking, and I get why hip hop looks out for its own, but comedy didn't start on a racial level. It didn't start from.
Gotcha. Right.
This group of people.
Nothing will be bigger than music. What I'm saying is, it is more relatable because it's ideas.
Gotcha.
That's fair.
Right?
Okay, makes sense. That's fair. Yeah.
And it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, but the way that hip hop just consumed the world in Asia, in Germany, in Russia, like, dude, we heard a fire Russian hip hop song. You remember that shit out? Like this shit.
I brought that shit back.
This shit was fire. And like,
so I saw a hip hop show in Mumbai when I was in India.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a big Indian hip
There's
hop
a
guy
hip
that
hop
just
scene
did
that's like really popping up now.
And the guy just did a thing with Nas.
Yeah, Nas was like heavily featured in this movie about rap in India. And I saw a show, and one of these kids was fucking nice, dog, dressed like a chaiwala, just out there flowing. A couple of them are really into the hip hop culture and like dressed like it's swagged out. Yeah. But this guy just came up in fucking sandals and cargo pants from 1998. Somebody sold them for $0.25 or whatever. And he just fucking killed it, dog.
But that's the thing. So it's like, in a time where you can't say anything, the ability to say something is always powerful. Yeah. Right? So like comedy is on the rise now in America, right? Because we're at a peak political correctness.
A pendulum swing back.
Right. So comedy is exploding because it's like finally the guys that can say something, and they can say it because we're making you laugh. We're not just making statements, hey, we're making you laugh. The whole world is 10 times more restrictive in what you can say. It might not be PC. You might be able to make jokes about women. You might be able to make jokes about different races, but try making fun of the government.
Yeah.
Try making fun. There are different levels to PC.
If you make fun of the emperor in Thailand, you might get killed. You will
hands
legitimately.
There was a comic that did it, I think, and they had to protect him. They had to get him out of the stage in the back. Like he made fun of the money or something. It was on the money, and the emperor was on the money, and they had to like get him out through the back door because of the crowd that wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So it's a little different, right?
Yeah.
But so throughout the world, comics are starting to take this and they're starting to run with it, right? And it's like this amazing thing that's fucking happening with comedy where the same thing happens in every different spot, right? It's 6 comics, start a little scene, they're doing open mics, they're doing it at bars, and then they finally get some money together and they open up a club. This is happening in Romania. Right? This guy named Sergey.
Malaysia. That's how it started.
It happened in fucking Malaysia, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? In every different one, there's usually an American or English guy who's familiar with traditional comedy that kind of breaks down the game to them, and he's like involved, even if periphery. That happened in Crack House. I think it happened maybe a little bit in Romania. Definitely there's a guy named Steve who's helping guys out there in Russia. And they start to copy the American formats for the shows, as they should, run with it. And what I realized is why, and when I was in Russia, why a lot of these guys have been gravitating towards me is that they can't put their comedy out on the traditional mediums, the networks. And they saw me do it without our traditional networks. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh shit, there is another way. And they've leaned into YouTube and Instagram and seen the success that they've had with it. So it's so cool to see like that blueprint help comics not only here, but like globally.
You know what it is? You know what I think it is? I think the medium is different, but the messaging and the way of going about it isn't really that much different. It's always like when the front door is closed, whatever that side door is for you is YouTube. For rappers, it was fucking, turntables and all that type of shit. SoundCloud. You know what I mean? Like, it's always a back door to like, okay, the traditional way isn't working. Some guy found a way that it works this way. Mm-hmm. We like this guy. Like it's always something, especially when it comes to like creative arts and shit like that.
Yeah.
Whatever that back door is, that side door is, always gets more celebrated because it's like, oh shit, this guy found a different way to make it work. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what.
We will find a way.
Exactly. Especially in countries where that shit is like restricted.
Yeah.
So it's dope.
It was so cool to see, and I know that this is happening all over, and I'm just so bullish on comedy just being the next huge global movement.
It is going to be a thing, and I remember you saying this years ago, dog. You were like, yo, I love the PC thing now because we're not ready yet, but when we are, people will just be starting to get sick of it. And then that's when we're gonna be like primed as comics, and this is like I remember this conversation 10 years ago or whatever. Right. And I was like, I don't know, man. This shit at the time I was like, this shit seemed like it's here for a minute. And it was a minute.
It was a minute. But now it's ending. We're here.
And you can't have this without that. Mm-hmm. That's what I've come to realize about all the super PC stuff. As annoyed as I am by it, we need it. Yeah. Because without them, people aren't looking for us.
Flagrant 2 isn't as successful if it isn't for a bunch of...
Dude, 100% the and I've said this to people
short
who
hair
always...
fat bitches.
They always... God bless short hair fat bitches. I always say to people when they're asked, like, oh, is it hard to be a comic right now? Is this like the worst time to be a comic? And I'm like, no, this is the best time. This is by far the best time to be a comic because this is where legends are made. Lenny Bruce did not come up in a time where you could say whatever you want. He came into a time where you couldn't. Richard Pryor did not come up in a time where you could say whatever you want.
George Carlin doesn't have a legendary bit called the 7 words you can say on television.
Yeah.
Facts.
And that's
Facts.
why the Chappelle shit was so funny to me when so many think pieces were coming out. Because I'm like, yo, you really want to be on that side of history that was like, you can't say that. That's not like when in the history of anything, painting, music, comedy, sports, hip hop, whatever.
Yeah, has censorship been the right side of history?
Censorship was like the cool thing to do. Like that's never fucking happened. Point. So I was like, all right, you go and be that.
Censorship is always the cornballs. And what I realize is that like the Second Amendment, which is, the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, right, is always used as a tool for whatever you want to protect. Right? So it's like, censorship used to be this conservative argument, right? Like when rap music was popping around, the conservatives and rock music was, they were both attacking morality and they were attacking God.
Word.
And what did conservatives always love?
Morality and God.
So what did conservatives stay with rock and rap music? Stop that. You need to stop this rap music.
I don't want to be those motherfuckers that was rocking with Tipper Gore and shit.
Right.
Like,
so real talk.
That's the type of people that you want to be with.
So
like,
now, right? People want to make jokes about trans, LGBTQ women, right? Who are the people trying to censor?
Non-LGBT.
The liberals.
The liberals who stand for women's agenda, LGBTQ agenda, and trans agenda. So freedom of speech is not really freedom of speech for everybody. It's just, hey, don't talk about me. That's all the freedom of speech argument is. Hey, no, you're talking about me.
That's always my thing. It's like, all right, when is it okay to make fun of you then? Like, it's just never okay to make fun of you?
Okay.
Really?
Yes, because they ain't got no bars, bro. They have
Get your bars up.
It's going to take a fucking dope-ass trans comedian to come in and just, like, shut shit down.
Son, that's why I'm so shocked that when gay dudes... that's funny. That's funny. But that's what's so shocking when, like, gay dudes get offended or, like, when you see, like, the blogs that, like, are like, this is homophobic. It's like... gay dudes got bars. Like, you don't gotta protect gay dudes.
Facts.
Like, first of all, gay dudes will fight you because they've been fighting their
Brawling,
whole life.
bruh.
They're ready to go. And two, they will snap on you.
They-
I never met one gay dude that wasn't ready to fucking do the dozens or
Dog.
whatever.
And to be honest, most of the jokes we give them, they've heard 1,000
They've heard
times.
a million
Yeah.
times. You
What
can't
you
tell,
ready,
you
bro?
can't
Pillow
tell
biter?
a gay
Yeah.
dude something that they haven't heard before. But yo, the worst I've ever felt like
Our disses for gay guys are
Jeez.
usually just describing the most fun they have. It's like, you get butt fucked. He's like, yes, on a good
it is
day.
great.
It's like, why would you
Honestly,
be offended?
whenever I want. How about you?
That was
straight
the last
guy?
time you got laid.